In affiliate marketing, in our context, authenticity lasts forever. You've got to build trust. If there's no trust, there's no longevity, there's no successful affiliate program.
You're listening to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, powered by Advertise, ultimate destination for affiliate program news, insights, growth opportunities, partnerships, and affiliate program strategy. Welcome to this week's Affiliate Marketing Podcast with me, your host, Leanne Johnston from Advertise and Converge. If you haven't joined us here before, this is the Affiliate Marketing Podcast where we talk all about, you guessed it, affiliate marketing. And this week I have a very special guest, somebody who is very dear to my heart. I have worked with her for a couple of decades in this industry, which is just amazing that we're still going and grinding. It is none other than Serafina Walder-Gabriel from Rightlander. She's the CEO. She is my personal friend, my guest, and probably the person that knows more about affiliate marketing compliance and regulation than anybody else I know in the industry, which is why she's on the mic today. So Serafina, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. It is great to have you here. Say a quick hello to our audience. Tell us a little bit about how you got into affiliate marketing, because I always think that's an amazing story, and how you landed up at Rightlander today.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Big hello to you too, Leanne. Feelings always mutual. Yes, we've had a very long journey together, and it's been amazing and wonderful in many senses, whether we fall together or we celebrate together. It's what affiliate marketing is built on, relationship and longevity. I fell into affiliate marketing back in 2004 when I joined a company called Ecom Access, which is now under PaySafe umbrella. And I joined as an affiliate manager. Started from the very bottom, actually, managing affiliate programs and learning along the way, and, 20 years plus into it. And I have to admit, back then, compliance wasn't that big of our workflow because, there was less regulation around what could be said, what could be promoted. But of course, now with the explosion of social media, it definitely has taken a forefront in any affiliate program, or at least a successful one anyway.
So with that history, and I know I've worked with you in some of that history because we both came from the PaySafe group prior to us taking up our new roles. What are one of the biggest things that you've seen change from then till now? Because I think a lot of people tuning into this podcast, they may be a little bit newer into the industry. They're, maybe 4 or 5 years into their career, but there's a rich history that is carried with us, from when we first started in the internet. And I like to kind of delve into that when I get guests that have been around as long as what you have, to just see from your perspective, looking across the industry, broadly speaking now too, because you obviously work across multiple sectors in Rightlander. What do you think is one of the biggest things that has changed from then till now?
Well, when I think back at when I was an affiliate manager, close to 99% of the traffic was web, whether it's content, SEO, PPC, that was just rampant. And then obviously blogs came about, and blogs were started to make quite an impact. They were more of a push strategy. They were pull. They were giving advice. They were giving tips. And there was no social media when we started, So we probably had it easier in terms of our relationships with our affiliates. But of course, in today's world, you have so many more opportunities available to you because you have so many sources of traffic that we didn't have in our time. So the challenges are a little bit different. The opportunities come a little bit differently as well. I think the underlying thing I would always say is ultimately the foundations in affiliate marketing are still the same 20 years on.
Oh, we were talking about that just before we got on the mic, and in the fact that, we're vintage because we've kind of been around a long time. But some of the old stuff that we learned and cut our teeth on is still some of the things that account managers are having to do today. And it's quite okay that those tactics and those processes haven't moved on because they still work, and you don't have to be looking at AI and running after the next big trend, because sometimes being vintage is still, the right way to go. It's still cool and popular to do things the old way and the old school way. Not saying that you should have moved with the times. Obviously, you need to be keeping abreast of new trends, but sometimes doing things manually and sometimes doing things methodically are actually the right way to do things. And I sometimes feel like compliance is a little bit like that, because when people talk to me about compliance, and please don't take offense, my eyes sort of glaze over because it's not really something that I need to be thinking about right now in my everyday. But, from your perspective, it's obviously vitally important because you get to talk to clients that have either had compliance issues and are now turning to you for results, or they've had to overcome compliance or risk issues in their business, which have a mega impact. So for affiliate managers, it might be like thinking the same as me, this isn't sexy and I don't want to listen to it. Can you paint a picture of what actually happens when compliance goes wrong?
Oh, well, where do I begin? You say vintage. The perception of vintage is it lasts long. In our context, authenticity lasts forever. You've got to build trust. If there's no trust, there's no longevity, there's no successful affiliate program. I don't know a single affiliate program, and between us, we've gone through thousands of them, that is not built on trust. When compliance goes wrong, revenue goes wrong. So compliance is something that people see as it's not my role, it's legal's role. It's not really a marketing function. Actually, we don't see it that way. We see compliance as a revenue enabler. If you're going to build a successful affiliate program as a marketer, you want to have good sources of traffic. You want to have quality partnerships. You want to work with advertisers, as we call them, because they're an extension of your sales team and your marketing team, your affiliates, that are saying the right things about your brand and accurately reflecting your brand so that consumers see what they're reading and they come to your site or your own shop or wherever it is, and they see consistency in that message. When it's misaligned or misleading or outdated or inaccurate, what happens? You lose faith.
And customers don't convert, and that's not good for you, and it's not good for your publishers either. Walk us through what Rightlander actually does, and then we'll get into some of the more contextual stuff about, how to manage your compliance in your program as well, because we always like to make these podcasts educational. So tell us a little bit about what Rightlander is and what it actually does.
Sure. We are a company that listens to what the challenges are and then try to find our solutions. In that sense, what we do is automate the monitoring function in an affiliate program. So we find traffic sources, we find opportunities, we look for risk assessment, which is a big part of it. Because yes, there is always a notion in affiliate marketing, it's all about revenue. But if you find a source of traffic that looks very potential and a good one, but comes with a lot of risk, then you've got to make that decision and find the right balance. We try to help you make that decision quickly, timely, without you having to go through the pain of losing money before you actually take action. So that's really what we do, is we go through analyzing that data, but we don't want to just give you data. We want to be able to give you an action step and say, this risk is low, this risk is high, and then you can go ahead and make your relationships and drive your opportunities in the right way.
So that covers all the way through from, assessing an affiliate or a publisher and their traffic sources and understanding, is that traffic real? Is it kind of bots? Is it stuff that I should be paying a high CPA for, or maybe on a revenue share? All the way through to what is actually being advertised. So for example, is the right disclaimer on the page where the, banners being displayed? Is the offer correct or outdated? Does it include all of that?
Yes, it includes all that. I mean, just to give you some context, we scan about 1.2 million pages and posts a day. So imagine if you're in charge of your compliance for your affiliate program and you try to do that manually.
And especially in like a heavily regulated sort of finance health industry, in the US, where FTC compliance is so strict in terms of what you can and can't say to consumers. Do you find it's mainly bigger programs that are coming to you with compliance issues, or are smaller programs also signing up at this point just to protect themselves?
In today's day and age, because there's so many sources of traffic, brands come to us to just do the heavy lifting because they can't be everywhere and watch everything that's said about their brand. And as the regulation gets more and more strict, they have to keep an eye. So brands come to us at different stages, not necessarily only the ones that have built huge legacy programs where manual monitoring is just not an option, or some of them who are starting, but they're trying to put the right systems and tools in place just to help grow in a more controlled manner and more confidence in their business. Because you could have 10 influencers, but 10 influencers that are posting hundreds and thousands of posts in a given month, you still have to do a lot of manual juggling if you're going to try and tackle it manually. So this is why they come to us to do that heavy lifting, because we've automated that process. And bear in mind, Rightlander was founded by a former successful affiliate, so totally understands affiliate marketing through and through, and the business has got a lot of affiliate marketers in it. And that's the reason why we understand what is needed in the industry. And we understand where those challenges are and also sometimes where those blind spots are, because you don't know where that is coming from. It's very hard for you to tackle it. And the next thing you know, you're addressing a problem rather than preventing it from happening in the first place.
So compliance is really about being proactive. It's about making sure that you have the right tools in place, making sure you've got the right processes in place so that you can focus on scale and not have to kind of like do the two jobs at the same time, focus on what's coming in and, do your fraud checks. And fraud is such a broad word. We really do need to like kind of learn to find other words for it. Can you walk us through what the most common compliance issues are that you see affiliate programs specifically have in today's modern world, where we're not just talking about web traffic anymore? We've got podcasts, we've got influencers, we've got video content, we've got blogs, we've got all of this mishmash coming into the performance channel. What are some of the common things that you see and that you actually help clients with?
Of course, it all depends on whether you're operating in a heavily regulated industry versus less regulated, but where brand protection and brand integrity becomes important for you. So obviously, some of the common things are, like we mentioned, the accuracy of the promotions and campaigns that are out there being published. No consumer wants to go and see an outdated promotion or a promotion that's so exciting, and then they go to the actual merchant and realize that promotion doesn't exist anymore. And I think we as a society are growing less and less tolerant of such instances. So accuracy of campaigns is one of the common things that we see. Misleading marketing. Do this and you'll get rich quick. No, they're just misleading, and the regulators are really cracking down heavily on that. So you want to position your brand in the right way, but not badly or desperate enough to say whatever it takes to get that user to come to your site, only to then get heavily disappointed and go and report you to a regulator. And this is what happens because now consumers have a voice. Consumers can go and share their feedback on their experience with the brand or their engagement with the brand. And there's nothing worse than negative reviews or feedback, as we all know. For compliance, that's why we see it as a revenue generator rather than as a tick box exercise. If done well and properly, you avoid these type of pitfalls which end up harming your business and your revenues.
So do you see more brands are incorporating compliance in their marketing teams versus in the old days where it used to be like a legal issue?
Definitely. It's part of the marketing workflow. So before affiliate marketers launch campaigns or launch content with their affiliates, they go and get it checked against any of the rules. And again, depends on whether you're in a heavily regulated industry or not. So there are basic rules that you need to check that your content meets, whether it's disclosure, whether it's the terms and conditions, whether it's the accuracy of that promotion, as we mentioned. Then you launch it. Whereas, when you and I were doing affiliate marketing, we'd write our own promotions and go, here's a 3-month promotional calendar. There you go. And then, up to the affiliate to publish what they like, when they like, and leave it as long as they like. You can't do that anymore. And that's the assumption that a lot of affiliate managers may be making, is if an affiliate is large, they must be compliant. But not always, because there's a lot of legacy content out there. And it's not because they don't want to be compliant, but it's just you cannot check every single content you've published over the years. It's just impossible unless you've got some systems and tools in place to go and check for you. So this is why we try to diffuse those type of assumptions, but make the compliance checking part and parcel of their workflow.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because you've raised a really important subject that I think a lot of affiliate managers are thinking about right now, and certainly a lot of networks are looking at in terms of publishers signing up. And that is, AI generated content. It is quite easy to go and scrape content on the internet now and repurpose it and put it forward. And we're seeing AI everywhere now in affiliate marketing, from, product descriptions, reviews, using it for research, comparison content. It's just like we're all using it because we're all learning from it, right? So what new compliance risks does this, like new technology and this new channel, because it's kind of like outside of traditional search, right? How does that impact what you guys do from a risk and compliance standpoint? Are you already looking at AI generated citations and helping brands to actually protect their brand in this space, this very, very new space?
AI, in our context, has increased significantly the volume of content that's published out there. I even read something on Wikipedia the other day that said there is 10 times more AI-generated content than human-generated content every second or so. It's absolutely mental. So what it's done for brands and for companies like ourselves is it's given us a massive volume of content we need to scan and stay on top of. I think for brands and affiliate programs, I went around and asked nearly every brand I met at the recent conference what they're doing about AI. And to my shock, most people said nothing at this point in time. They know it exists, but it hasn't caused a problem yet.
Although there are a few precedents happening in the US. So if you check out affiversemedia.com, you'll see in our news coverage, there are a couple of cases that are being brought forward in the courts, which will eventually set a precedent. So we're in that no man's land at the moment where it's all new and shiny and everybody's testing it, but at some point it's going to regulate itself.
And like we said, going back to the basics, knowing your affiliate is one of the most important pillars in affiliate marketing, right? So if you have got a long-standing relationship with an affiliate and they are producing more AI-generated content, you probably worry a little bit less just because you have that rapport, you have that relationship, and it's easy to correct if there are any mistakes on it. But if you're establishing a brand new relationship and you realize that that partner, nearly all their content is AI-generated, what does that say about the quality that you're going to get? So it's a form of measuring, but I wouldn't rely 100% on it, and neither do we as a business. We use AI in some of our workflows, but it needs a human intervention at the end of the day to make that decision.
And also context, because if you did have to run everything that's out there on your brand through AI, the AI wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you the context. It would just be able to black and white match it, basically. As you know, with content creators, they need a certain amount of license to promote the product in a way that makes sense for their audiences. I think that's quite interesting. But with that in mind, obviously there's an expense to put a compliance tool in place on a program. Like, when should an affiliate program invest in compliance technology? Is it more at this point a case of, if you're in a highly regulated market, it's really a no-brainer. You should have a compliance tool in place anyway because the rules are a little bit stricter. But if you were working in something like e-commerce, for example, which is just normal retail, you don't have as many regulations as like finance or gaming or, some of the other industries which are highly, highly regulated. Also, if you're working in a global marketplace, because some affiliate programs, they don't only run in one country, they run all over the world. How do you manage the kind of regional differences between what you can do in the UK and what you can do in the US, for example, or other regions for that matter? When is the right time to actually double down and invest in a compliance tool to actually automate all of these processes for you? Because even just talking about it on this podcast, I can see compliance is a full-time job. It's not something that you give to the team once a week to go and do a little rough check.
Exactly. He touched upon a lot of the different factors there. Yes, when is the right time? Depending on whether you're heavily regulated versus not less regulated industries. You still care about your brand. That's a consideration. Whether you put the safety measures in place early on, which is what we always recommend, because it gives you the ability to grow with confidence. And so when you're vetting, rather than be reactive, you make it a proactive function of your affiliate program. The other thing to think about is all the marketing channels that are being used. So you might be monitoring the web content really well, but then you've got a blind spot on the social media content. And that is one of the main challenges that we're seeing now more and more. And with influencer content as well. It's how do you put yourself to monitor everything? So it's important to have compliance in early to have confidence, but you also need to really understand the footprint of your affiliate program. If your affiliates are promoting you on Telegram, on search, on web, on TikTok, and you're not there, then you have a problem because you're leaving yourself exposed to all the pitfalls you mentioned earlier, whether it's a regulator telling you can and cannot say this, or you giving misleading information to your potential customer and then the customer being disgruntled and not becoming a customer. So it's important that you see compliance more as a revenue enabler rather than a hindrance or a tick box exercise because a regulator tells you to do so.
Yeah, because I have heard a lot of affiliates go, oh, don't worry about compliance because it's going to impact my numbers. Well, it's going to impact your numbers anyway because you're bringing in the wrong types of traffic, or you are going to get your whole program shut down by a regulator because you're not following the rules. So I think it's more a case of being on the front foot and being proactive with your compliance rather than waiting for when a problem happens and then all of a sudden getting proactive with it.
Exactly. Hence why we say it should be part of your workflow. In the same way you check your stats. You check that all the payments have been issued in a timely manner. You check that all the creatives and campaigns are going to the right landing pages. It's part of the workflow. And the same thing with a compliance check is, have I done my risk assessment on this particular partner, this channel, this voice, wherever it's be? And if you get the yes, then you move on, you move on, you move on. I've paid my affiliates for January commissions. I move on. I don't talk about January commissions. I'm in February. It's part and parcel of the flow of the business. And if you only see it as, okay, I now have to have disclosures on every campaign. Let me go and check. Once I've checked them all, that's it, I'm done. Tomorrow you've got new affiliates signing up. You've got different affiliates. You've got affiliates that have maybe 10 other assets that you don't even know exist. Even in our time, you sign up with your main site and you've got 5 other sites that I know nothing about. So you open yourself up to those risks. Hence why we say the workflow helps you narrow that risk, gives you confidence. And it also gives the affiliates confidence to know that, if they make a mistake or trip up, you're going to correct it. You got to find it. And then it's a win-win for both sides because the affiliates don't have to get penalized over something that they made a mistake with. But at the same time, the brand also doesn't get penalized.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, everybody should have compliance tools in place on their programs. That's the bottom line. And also, if you're in a highly regulated industry, you really can't afford to be working without a compliance and monitoring tool in place.
And I would add one more thing to that regulators like to see that you're taking the necessary measures to put the right tools and systems in place. Because we all know with online, you'll never be 100% catch everything all the time when it happens.
Especially because it's so easy to create something and put it out there. I mean, anybody can create a post in seconds and post it to live, to the public domain, and you have no control over that.
You have no control. But if you can prove and demonstrate that you're doing everything you can to be compliant, you might have a better leniency from them or, less fines. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fines have been coming fast and hard. I mean, I've seen a lot of PR recently about companies being taken to task about, what's been happening in their affiliate programs. So let's look kind of 2 to 3 years ahead. What compliance challenges do you think are coming that most companies and affiliate managers aren't really preparing for yet? Like, what are you seeing some of your more advanced clients who have bigger established programs? Because often that's how it trickles down. There'll be like the bigger guys will actually cotton onto something quicker and then it'll trickle down and then smaller players can get involved as well. But what are some of the things that you're seeing that are becoming quite hot topics in the compliance space?
I think one of the hot topics that we're seeing now is whether tracking platforms can circumvent AI content that strips out the affiliates tracking and therefore the association or the are taken away from the affiliate. So that is going to be a challenge for all of us to address it properly. Obviously, we saw the scandal with browser extension fraud. As you say, fraud comes in so many ways, but with, the whole fallout with the honey story, tracking accurately is going to become a hot topic. And now that they're putting more ads they're talking about using ChatGPT and ads in there. So I think that's going to be one of the key challenges that we're going to face this year. Of course, the other big one is still the social media. Lack of visibility and transparency, and in itself is a massive task because you just don't have control over your voice. And from a compliance perspective, we see more and more of that audience being in the social environment and less, not less on SEO and web, but I think the consumer is going to rely more and more in those channels. And that's where obviously your content and your affiliates have to be in order to get their audiences. So I think those are going to be the 2 main trends that we're going to see this year.
All right. So if I had to put you in the hot seat now and say, give us 5 points or 6 points that people can take away from this podcast to go and check their compliance if they've never done it before, what would be the top things that you would get affiliate managers to do today just to do a really basic compliance check on their program?
I would first of all check promotions, make sure they're all accurate because that's your front shop facing, right? If that's inaccurate, it's going to impact what the consumer thinks of your brand. Second thing I would do is understand all the rules and regulations that you operate under and in which jurisdictions. Make sure you're in tune with the regulator's directions are. And if it's not the regulator, then what your brand tolerance is. Well, yes, you need to understand you want your brand positioned, whether it's, if you're a high-end brand, you do not want to be advertised on low-end sources. If you're middle, just understand what your brand position is and know where you want to be. The other thing I would say is don't wait for a catastrophe to happen before you react. Get ahead of it. Know your affiliates. Know know their traffic sources, understand where they promote you, how they promote you, where the content is being generated from. That is by far the biggest advice that we always give is if you don't know that, then that's the basics to even knowing what to look for. Because, it's all well and good to have a compliance check in place, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you're never going to catch it.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the fourth point is create your own compliance checklist. If you are still running your affiliate program on everyone can apply at any time and be accepted at any time, start thinking about what your rules and regulations are for accepting affiliates as well, because compliance starts at the very beginning with the first touch point. Who do you let in? Who do you let in and how do they then present your brand? And I think you're right. You started your list with check how your brand's being presented. Are all the right offers in place? Are all the right landing pages working? Is the consumer getting a good user experience from all of the publishers that can pick up these offers in your program? So that's 5 really simple, quick points that anybody could take away and actually just do a mini compliance audit just to sense check whether their program is in good health. Obviously, you're not going to have time, in conjunction with your day job of actually being an affiliate manager to go and do this every day. But, maybe you can put it to your team and say, okay, you do the creative library and clean that up and make sure that that's looking good. You have a look at what our onboarding checklist is going to be. Somebody else can, maybe go and have a chat to legal and talk about, what are some of the compliance rules that we need to be operating under in England, US, and any other jurisdiction that you're running in, and just get a sense for it. Because as affiliate managers, we're also tasked with our own self-education, and compliance is very much one of the things that should be part of your operational skill set, which is what Sarafina has mentioned. So let's close off this podcast because we've given 5 tips of how to go and do a mini compliance audit checklist. We've spoken about the perils of not having compliance in place in your program and the fact that it shouldn't be seen as a legal tactic. It should be seen as part of your marketing process and that it directly impacts revenue in so many ways. If you could give affiliate managers one piece of advice about building a compliant program from day one, what would it actually be?
It's know your affiliates. Know them through and through from the very beginning when they applied to your affiliate program to the ones who have been promoting you for 5 years, 10 years, and so on. You understand where the affiliate is exposing your brand, then you have a better handle on being compliant and protecting your brand's reputation. At the end of the day, it's a balance. Yes, as an affiliate manager, I want to grow my affiliate program and I want to get more affiliates through the door and I want the revenue and the customer acquisitions, everything to increase, but not at the expense of driving the revenue, and losing my brand protection or risking my business or my license because of a non-compliant activity taking place. So balance and knowing your affiliate are the key things I would say you should take away from this. And seeing compliance as an enabler rather than something that blocks you from growing.
Yeah, I love it. All right, guys. So that's pretty much it for this week. I want to thank you, Sarafina, for coming on the podcast and talking about compliance and giving us some checklists and things that we can take away. I think it's very important that we focus on compliance this year because, as you said, we're living in a world of AI where content can be generated on the fly at any given moment and posted to public channels very, very quickly. The onus is still on you as the affiliate manager to be responsible for your program and your program acting compliantly and within best practices. So I guess if you want to reach out to Sarafina, she's on LinkedIn. You can reach out to Rightlander to find out more about what their tool does. But it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast with me. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your insight. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Been an absolute pleasure, Lee. Thank you so much as always.
Join thousands of digital marketers who trust Affiverse for the latest trends, tools, and tactics shaping affiliate success. Subscribe for free to our weekly newsletter and get expert insights from industry leaders, exclusive case studies and strategy tips, early bird invites to live and virtual events. You cannot afford to miss this. Don't fall behind. Get the news, strategy, and trends that keep your affiliate game sharp. Sign up now at affiversemedia.com and stay connected, informed, and ahead. Thanks for tuning in to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, your insider edge to all things affiliate.